Hello, this is Austin from the Lukewarm Cinema Podcast, and you are listening to the BS Podcast Network.
This is the Magic Our Way Podcast with my mutants, Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Lee. They're a cut above the rest, bub. You're the best there is at what you do. And what you do is pretty nice.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way Podcast.
They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You are listening to the Magic Our Way Podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana, in the United States of America. We are artistic buffs talking about Disney stuff. And this is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. Today we are revealing the latest installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Black Widow. Finally released. Here it is. And guys, look, this is not your typical polished, practiced Pixie Dust and Disney podcast. No, sir. We are not in the parks every day trying to tell you the best place to ride out Florida's afternoon rainstorms.
That's right, Kevin. We're here to drink, entertain y'all, talk Disney, and then kidnap y'all and brainwash y'all and have y'all join our army of Mohican assassins.
That's right. Now get ready. Here comes the helicopter and the avalanche.
Oh, my name is Kevin.
And I am Danny.
Oh, you're so Eli.
And this is Moose and Squirrel.
Which one is Moose? Which one is Squirrel?
Let's go.
I am Lee, and even though I ain't ScarJo, I do book the trips, though.
So guys, enough of our jibber jabber. Let's go discuss some Black Widow magic.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test. Tie your napkin.
Yes, folks, just a quick shout out to listeners who have booked their vacations with the Magic Our Way podcast. Thank you this week to Becca.
Becca,
Yes, she is currently going to be staying at the All Stars in October. And also, Kevin, we may run into her because she's going to be there the same time we are.
Hey!
Becca!
Get out of here.
Slap him around a little bit, Becca. We won't be there. Eli and I will be in probably Disneyland at that point.
Yeah.
Slap him around a little bit. Tell him what to do.
Yeah, whatever's good. It's all cool, you know. So just a quick funny story. So, I had the sales meeting in Nashville a couple weeks back, and this particular person walks up to me and she's like, "Hey, I don't want to sound weird." I'm like, "All right, I like the way this is going." She goes,
What's happening?
Oh, you like the way
You're like, what's happening?
Cue Mrs. Lastavica's lawyer listening.
I'm going to tear you apart and your little beard too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but so she's like, I'm a listener to the Magic Our Way podcast, and I wanted to talk to you about, we want to go in October and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, that's very cool. So the two worlds have collided. The Journeys world and the podcast world have now collided because she is a Journeys employee, but she found out about me through the podcast. And she also approves all my expenses too. So that's
Wow.
that's an interesting little twist. So I got to watch myself now. I guess.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Becca, he spends way too much money when he comes into town. I mean, he's buying his dinner, everything.
man.
Yeah, he's buying
Watch
liquor
that.
and all kind of stuff.
Say,
I
man,
understand.
look, don't get on this dude. He bought me a nice new car. I
Got a
needed
new
it
pair of
too.
Sanooks up
Yeah.
And there's no reason he can't drive home after he finishes recording. I mean, we wrap up at like 1. He could be home by like 6 in the morning.
Exactly. Yeah, you didn't
Come
need to
on.
pay for another hotel.
No
Yeah.
kid.
Becca.
That's awesome.
Becca.
How you doing?
How you doing?
He's auditing the auditor.
Becca the auditor.
The auditor.
All right. Well, thank you much, Becca. Hopefully we'll run into you there in October.
No,
Yes.
Becca, run into us, man. Look for us for sure.
I gave her our itinerary.
Okay,
so
good.
we're trying to meet up.
If you figure out a way to put Lee Lastavica in jail, we have a Magic Our Way pin that we will send you.
Not even worth a T-shirt.
That's a pin.
Or okay, we'll put all right, T-shirt. Sure. T-shirt. Yeah.
T-shirt. All right.
Timmy
cool.
2 pins.
Whatever works for you.
Give me 2 pins. Get the shoes. Get the shoes.
Becca, thank you very much, man. That's awesome, and we hope you're listening and enjoying the shows and checking us out on YouTube, man, because we got a lot of good stuff there too as well. We are reviewing Black Widow, the Disney Marvel summer movie offering, which was released in the United States in theaters and on Disney Plus via premium access on July 9th, 2021. Here's a little promotion description as stated by the Walt Disney Company. In Marvel Studios' action-packed spy thriller Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, confronts the darker parts of her ledger when a dangerous conspiracy with ties to her past arises. Pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must deal with her history as a spy and the broken relationships left in her wake long before she became an Avenger. So guys, as always, like we've been doing Loki stuff, before we jump into those details, we're going to give a quick around the room to see whether or not we like the show and our reasons for our opinion. And we'll also give our scale of 1 to 10. 10 being we absolutely loved it. 1, we're like, eh. And of course, since this is a Marvel movie, I'm going to let Eli, our Marvel master, Maven. No, that's not Maven. That's female, I think, right? Our guru. Marvel guru.
Hey,
to lead off on what he thinks about Black Widow.
Oh man, right on, sir. Thank you very much. I gotta say, there's a lot to be had here. There's a lot of stuff to think about. Here's the thing. Love the action in it. It's great. The dynamics between all of the characters, which we'll get into, has some awkward moments, but some funny moments. Had no problem with that. There are some parts I feel with the big bads, so to speak, was kind of weird and wonky. But all in all, I would give it an 8.
8.
An 8.
Cool. Excellent. All right, Danny.
Oh, me? Oh, okay. I see this as being a good movie, but not a great movie. I thought it was well done in many parts. I thought at times the action felt forced. I'm sorry about that. My
phone was forced
me right now.
The phone does not agree with you, sir.
It does not. They call me. Stop talking about Black Widow. Got important information. No, I thought that the action felt a little forced at times. The dynamics felt a little clunky, if you will. The villain felt a little weak, but I was entertained. But I was bored at times as well. There were times where I literally looked at my watch like, really, how long has this been going on for here? So I was kind of in it, out of it, in it, out of it. Yeah, I stand by what I said. It was a good movie, not a great movie. If I had to give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, 7. I think would be fair.
7.75.
Yeah. I'll just go 7.
Solid
I'm
7,
not gonna,
okay.
7.
I'm not going to hedge. I'll
Okay.
just go 7.
Don't hedge.
I'm kind of along the same lines, guys. So I will give it an 8. And I'm thinking about this in terms of the Loki shows we've been doing, which you haven't catched it. Make sure you catch it on the rest of our channel in the Marvel Mo and Stuff playlist. But is it worse than the 3rd episode of Loki? Probably not. Is it about the same kind of thing? Maybe so.
You say like the whole movie is equivalent to that 1/3 episode?
As far as how it made me feel.
Okay.
You know, how it made me feel after I watched it. You know, I enjoyed it. It was kind of, and we'll talk about this. For me, it was kind of caught in between two different worlds, I guess 2 different phases that were. It's like, okay, you had the action and stuff that's going on, but then it's like based upon the way they were doing storytelling with WandaVision and Captain America, Falcon Winter Soldier, and now recently Loki. That's the standard I've been judging things against now. You know, not to say that the stuff beforehand in the previous phases were not good, but it's definitely a different feel. Dynamic and everything else like that. I enjoyed seeing the family aspects of it. You know, that was kind of nice, and you can kind of deduce that from the trailers and whatnot. But yeah, it wasn't a flat out knockout for me. I will watch it again. You know, just because I didn't enjoy some of those interactions as family stuff that we'll talk about. But it wasn't an absolute blockbuster hit for me. As you know, I've been rewatching some of the Marvel movies. You know, I rewatched the first Thor and you know, Avengers, Infinity War, as well as Endgame and stuff. And this one just, I don't know. It was just a little different to me. And then the end credit scene. So if you haven't seen it, or if you are watching it and you haven't seen the very, very end credit scene, it happens at the very end. That one brings up some questions for me too. So yeah, I'm giving it a pretty much a solid 8 for me. But yeah, we'll get it. I'm biting my tongue because I don't want to divulge too much. So
I can see some what you say with the dynamic though. That's that leads to a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'll toss it over to Lee before I ruin anything for anybody else. So go ahead, Lee.
All right, so let's go with 7 out of 10 White Russians on this one.
Well done.
I also may be a little influenced over the fact that we left this movie to go next door when we were done and watch Fast and Furious 9.
9.
So in comparison, this is a masterpiece. When you compare it to Fast and Furious.
Well, I would think just seeing John Cena was in it was enough to be able to be like, well, that's going to suck.
God. I was like, what is this guy? How are they related? Like, they're supposed to be brothers, and this is stupid. And anyway, this is not a Fast and Furious review.
He really is a very limited actor.
Yeah,
too.
John Cena was not getting my money.
He is not The Rock.
Was not getting my money.
That was just hot garbage. So maybe, again, I like this better because of the comparison of seeing that piece of crap afterwards. But, for someone, again, as I always say, is not a huge Marvel fan, I was definitely entertained. Got a few laughs out of it. There were some great moments that were humorous and like the little family dynamic. And, they're very dry sense of humor because they're Russian and all this other stuff. So that was a cool part of it. The action stuff, honestly, was okay. Like the fight scenes were cool, but some of the later stuff, I'm like, okay, I get that this is a superhero movie, but this is really unbelievable. Some of the stuff they're trying to do in these action scenes. I'm like, you were really kind of jumping the shark a little bit with some of those action scenes. It was like, this is weird. So like I said, of all the Marvel movies I've seen, I don't know that I would put it in the top, but it was entertaining. It would probably be cool to see it again on, on Disney Plus when it comes out for free, that kind of thing. Didn't mind paying for it. It was cool to get back into the movie theater again. I don't know. Did you guys see it at the theater? Everyone see it at the theater? Or did y'all do the Disney Plus?
I did the Disney Plus thing.
Disney
I was at
Plus.
home,
Yeah, I did. I had an option to see it at the theater, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'd rather just see it in my own environment.
It was cool seeing it in the theater and, spending $50 on snacks and stuff like that. So
it was a little piece of normal for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's the first movie we've seen in theaters since the pandemic. So that was kind of nice too.
And what's funny about that is I just thought about this. That you mentioned is like if you wanted to see it again, you would have to pay either way. If we wanted to see it again, we could just turn it on right now and watch it.
Yeah, I was watching some of it this morning.
Because I remember I was complaining about, that premium access stuff. It's like, all right, we said we were going to do it, so I'll do it. It's worth it. I've been waiting for this movie to come out.
Yeah.
And I paid the $30. I'm like, wait a minute, I can watch this as many times as I want. And I looked up, and it's like, there's no limit. It's not going to end. It's going to remain open indefinitely.
How much did you want to watch it? I mean, the tickets weren't back, so we went to a matinee, so it was like $6 for a ticket, and it was just me and my son, so it was like $12. Maybe I think it was like $17 with all the service charges or blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't too bad. It's just, again, I spent, I'm not exaggerating, probably like $50 on snacks. So
yeah, I mean, the only advantage is that HBO Max will release their movies for a limited time for free. If you already have the subscription for HBO Max, then you get them whatever movies are in the theater for free, and then it disappears. But when in the grand scheme of things, when you pay the $30, it's like $29.99, I guess, or $29.97 or something like that. It's not a bad price for the same kind of thing, and I'm okay with that. I was okay with that after I looked upon it.
I pay for it, and Eli and I watched it together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can have so many people. I could watch it by myself again, or I could have all y'all over and watch it together again.
You could pause it, go use the bathroom, come back, and it'll be like, what did I miss?
Yeah, I mean, other than free, I think this is maybe it's not such a bad deal,
No, it was not.
Not such a bad deal.
It was not bad. I mean, like if I had a reaction to something, I knew like Danny was like sitting right there, so it wasn't like I had to worry about somebody being like, I'm throwing my popcorn in your face. It was easy to kind of be myself. I personally just like watching a movie now in the comfort of my own home or somebody else's home.
It is nice. Yeah, it is nice. And
now, is it $30 every movie or $30 and you get all the premium movies when they come out?
I think it's for the movie.
No, $30 and you get to watch that movie as much as you want. Not all the movies.
It's not a premium subscription. It's just $30 this time, $30 again, $30 again, every movie that comes out. Okay, cool.
Correct. Yeah. And I just need to say, I didn't expect it. I forgot she was in it, but it was good to see Rachel Weisz in this movie. She played Melina.
Well acted. I liked how she...
I've always been a fan of hers, even from the Mummy movies.
Yes.
I was a big fan of hers, and she did some other movies too. But The Mummy is the one that sticks out for me as far as her. I always loved it. She looks great, I'm a big fan, and I like, especially at the end when you saw her in the outfit, and we'll get into that. I was like, oh yeah, she looks right. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
She could play Mama Widow or something like that,
Mama Widow.
I call her Mama Widow,
I thought she was the hottest widow.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
That's like MILF Widow.
Maybe but I'm old-fashioned, but I love Mama Widow.
So she's a wilf?
Oh, she's a definite wilf.
A widow,
Yeah, well, just be careful.
A widow I'd like to have fun with and
talk
they
about
would eat me afterwards.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. I looked up how old she was. I was like, man, she looks good, and she's got to be around our age. She's 51, apparently.
Oh,
gorgeous.
wow.
Drop dead gorgeous.
Good for her.
Still amazing. Still acting her butt off, especially in the acting films. I loved her in The Mummy, and just to see her in this role, I hope we get to see her more often because, hey, I love it because she's in the MCU now.
Yeah,
she is. Yes,
it's great. She's very, very important.
As well as Hopper.
As well as Hopper. You're right. Absolutely.
There you go.
A lot of I'd say this, having this movie, I guess, in the library, so to speak, does have this weird way of opening up a lot of doors. That much I could give it credit for, but it was a good way to have a Friday night MCU kickoff.
It was nice, yeah. After I got home from work, I had something to look forward to. Came home, paid for it. I watched the movie. It was great.
And it was nice to see them finally give Black Widow an origin story. It really was. I mean, I kind of felt like she got shortchanged a bit.
Yes.
Her and Hawkeye kind of got introduced, at least, I guess, she got introduced in, Iron Man 2, and Hawkeye got introduced in, Thor, the first one?
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to see that she got an origin story, and we all know that Hawkeye's series is coming out on Disney Plus at some point in time, and so I'm sure they'll get into some stuff with him. But for a while now, she's kind of seemed like just the love interest of the Hulk. She's a badass, but really her only other function is to kind of be a love interest to the Hulk or to Hawkeye or to...
She grabs some information. You don't know how she does it.
Right. It just seemed like her character was so limited. And so I was really glad they finally gave her a movie to shine because I felt like that was long overdue.
Very, very long overdue. And that's what I wondered about. Like, if it's tough, I think, like you said, the characters that this movie essentially has to go up against, right? You got Hulk, Thor, Captain America, like just these over-the-top characters, and it's like, how do you take this character and then kind of work within the parameters of who that character is? This character doesn't have superpowers. She can't shoot I-beams. She doesn't have a hammer, but you have to kind of still make comic book MCU feel movie, and I think that was like really the big challenge that these guys had to face.
I don't even know that they lived up to that challenge.
But it was a challenge, right?
It was a challenge,
Yes.
but it felt more like a Jason Bourne, James Bond type of movie than it did your typical MCU movie. So there's one point at the end where you see something happen and you hear that Avengers music kind of kick in. And then you're like, oh, now I've kind of got the Marvel feels. But
I'm with you. It has like a Bourne Identity, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Terminator 2, Manchurian Candidate kind of loop going on with it.
Leon the Professional.
Nice.
Yes.
very, very much so. It did seem like the plot was kind of, that's what I would say. And I'm being generic. I'm not trying to get into spoilers, but I'm just saying it seems like the plot was relatively weak. Like they wrote this in a weekend.
You know, I know we were watching it at one point, and I remember we both were like, oh, don't tell me that's about to happen. And it did. And they were
fairly predictable.
Very predictable. Yeah. There's no way around that. And I think there were some parts in there where it was like, oh, come on, you're not going to use this particular trick where I call it, I don't want to give anything away, but I call it, for the lack of a better word, a Batman 60s Batman like storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we gonna do? I got a anti-shark spray. You know, like that kind of crazy stuff. I saw a lot of that. That's kind of where I was like, oh, in the heart, you're killing me.
Get to the chopper.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, anything else, gentlemen, before we dive into it?
I think it's as far as we can go without really getting into spoilers.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yes.
I mean, there's a lot. I will say this: there's a lot about the movie that I did like, and I think I touched upon that. I thought that Red Guardian stole the movie. Absolutely, the daddy.
Think he stole it?
I think he stole the movie.
Right.
And I think Yelena was clearly. I think he stole the movie with a lot of what he did helped get you through the movie, but a lot of what her sister did was the most memorable. I thought she shined. I thought Black Widow, unfortunately, was kind of the sidekick of her own movie.
Okay. Well, can we comment on that, or do we have to?
If you can do it non-spoilerish, you can do it. Yeah.
I totally can do that.
Okay.
Totally. Yes, I agree. The sister got put over really well. I agree with that. I don't know about the dad. I mean, like Red Guardian. Can I say that, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
it's obvious he's in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The movie got fun when he showed up.
It did. I don't know about stole though.
He stole it.
I don't know about stole.
He stole it.
I know there was some parts it was crucial he was there, but I don't know about stole. So
I think
He is the Moana. He's of that show. Not the Moana. The
Maui?
Maui. He's the Maui of this show. Like this movie is not the same without him in it.
It's not near as enjoyable. It's very serious. It's very dire with a little comedy thrown in.
Moana was okay, and then Moana was okay, but when The Rock showed up, that's when that movie was like, all right, I like this movie. Boom.
Things started to sizzle.
Okay. All right. I don't know if I stole it, but hey, that's cool.
Okay, well, I mean, we can bicker over the terminology, but I mean, you see what I'm saying. And in my opinion, when he showed up, the movie got fun. How about that? Yeah. As opposed to the word stole it.
No, I'm look. But in your opinion, it all matters. It all matters.
Look, I was hoping actually that Colossus and Deadpool would show up at some point.
That would have been awesome. I
see you're Russian too, huh?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so we have until this coming Wednesday when Loki finally releases the last episode to find out whether or not this is a pattern with Marvel where all the stuff that you're going to get that lands on Disney Plus it never teases anything bigger. It's always within the confines of this small little world that we've created, and there's nothing bigger that's going to encapsulate future movies. And I think, we all thought WandaVision, there may have been a bigger play at work, and that didn't happen. Same thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier. And now you're moving forward with Black Widow, where basically everything was self-contained in there as well. So if Loki is the same thing, then at some point you have to be able to say, well, these stories are great and they're very well told, but the idea that they tie into the larger universe as a whole, it's not really...
Phase 4 is tough to take.
I'm not even sure what Phase 4 is at this point, is what I'm trying to say. We're all still trying to get a handle on Phase 4. We're in Phase 4, but it's kind of like...
But we're not in Phase 4.
It's like we're still dipping a toe in the water.
Yes.
Is that...
Toe phase.
Is that really... Is it the right time
too
to
hot
get
for
in?
the hot tub.
Phase too hot now. Gotta take it back.
Hot
now.
tub too hot.
Gotta pull it out.
Too hot
Burn
for the hot tub. Yeah, it's like if Loki doesn't, it's as if Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange's movie, has to tie all of this together.
Yeah, or add another piece to it that's a little more cinematic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that. But something has to kind of coagulate everything into a timeline or multiple timelines or some kind of singular story.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to make stuff make sense.
But I mean, isn't that kind of what sucks about some of this stuff is that it just feels so self-contained. It doesn't feel like we're building on something bigger. That was what was so good about these MCU movies, though. You go see them in theater, and each one built off of the last one.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, yeah.
It feels like everything that we're watching is very self-contained.
Or so we think. I don't know.
It's very possible.
I mean, if not, it's a big ask for Doctor Strange's movie to bring it. I mean, that comes out, March next year, I believe?
Well, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man is
you got Spider-Man.
Shang-Chi.
I mean, I don't know if Shang-Chi is going to do anything to that.
Ant-Man is really the one that's supposed to be introducing Kang into the... And again, unless it happens in Loki. And you've only got one episode left, and I think I would be... That whole last episode better be a lot about Kang then, because otherwise it's going to be a disappointment.
Guys, look, make sure you stay tuned to this YouTube channel because we're going to be reviewing the last episode of Loki coming up very, very soon, man. It's going to be awesome.
We're just as crazy about it as you are.
So, guys, look, now that we've done that, let's dive into the details. But first, I must give you a spoiler warning. If you have not watched the movie yet and don't want anything ruined for you, make sure you hit pause right now. Save this video, save this podcast, come back to us later. We're about to get into all the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And to spoil it, I'm going to say the quote-unquote good guys win.
That's what you go with.
I know.
That goes to show how much there really was behind that.
The good guys win. That's what you go with.
Well, there's not much. I mean, that's the thing. It's not much of a spoiler. I agree.
Usually you put the...
I do. I put the dagger into it right there.
Boom.
It's like,
how about Taskmaster is a girl?
Girl, yeah.
Yes, there you go. We can see that.
Antonia.
Yeah, yes. Antonia. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those things where I didn't know any of that backstory, and I'm like, well, it looks a little bit like Captain America. But wait a minute, it's got a bow and arrow, so that's kind of like Hawkeye. And I mean, like, eventually they told us why, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm a dumbass. I didn't know that.
No,
but
that's not,
like,
you don't read it. That's totally fair.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, but I saw it. I understood it right away. I'm like, okay, this is an amalgamation of different heroes or characters or Avengers or whatever.
Did you know right away that not right away, but like by halfway through the movie, did you have a good sense that
It was his daughter?
Yes.
Not really, but I'm not that smart. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that good with movies. Like, my wife is like, oh, this is what's going to happen. And this, oh, did you see that? And I'm like, no, I'm just watching the movie, just chilling.
What? I mean,
I'm just thinking about your next promo on the Magic Hour podcast. Lila Savica, I'm not that smart.
whatever happened. John Cena's a good actor in it. No,
I was just enjoying the movie, you know. I mean, like when I saw it, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, yeah, but I didn't see it coming.
No, it was kind of like.
Well, back up a second. You said Taskmaster? Is that what this?
Taskmaster's the villain.
I mean, I admit I didn't know who that character was, and I had no idea if that was a male or female. It was supposed to be.
In the comics, it's
In the comics, he was known as Quartermaster.
Oh, it's his first name is Kirk?
Yes.
His first name is Kirk? Okay.
He was Quartermaster. He used to work for the Pirates.
yes, he
the Magic
copies.
King
He
of the
copies the styles of many podcasts.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
No,
That's
that
it.
did not happen. I'm sorry.
That's
No,
hilarious. That's hilarious.
He was the Bassmaster.
So
He's
he
the
went fishing.
Beastmaster.
He was good friends with Bill Dance and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
Yes.
He was a Ghostbuster.
I ain't afraid of no task.
Oh, he was a Mythbuster too.
That's it. That's right.
Okay, so all right. So seriously, we're going to be talking about this villain. That was a badass costume. I'm like, as soon as I saw that villain, I'm like, that's money. Problem is that once you treat him like they kind of treat him as like a second-rate Terminator, where he didn't speak.
Yes.
He didn't, but he also didn't really do like he would do occasionally really cool things, but then he'd do occasionally like really odd things.
He
Like,
didn't accomplish, or she didn't accomplish anything in the movie, and that was one of my parts that I hated about. And I hate's too strong of a word. It was one of those things where at first, when you see a character, and you're like, okay, that's a character out of the canon, like that's a character out of the books. Cool, that's how they made him and all this stuff. But they had like this weird scene where they introduce her, and she's in the mask, which is a cool design.
they mandarined him.
Yeah, and then they're like, hey, smile, and all this stuff. And it's like,
That's when I knew there was a dude in there. That's when I'm like, when they're programming stuff in the neck,
dude
and all of a
or
sudden
a
they
girl?
went, smile. There was a girl
Okay.
that programmed something in the back of his neck, walked up to the mask and went, smile,
Smile, yeah.
like that. And I'm like, it's either a robot or a person because they programmed something, and then when they went smile, you kind of get the sense as you're watching the movie, and they keep hammering it into your head. These girls have no will, no control, no nothing. I mean, I said it midway through the movie. I told Eli, I said, that's the daughter.
yeah. And the crazy part was that we said that, I was like, yeah, I could see that. And then it was like right before they got to the reveal, like towards the end, they did it one more time, like, you had my daughter, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, you're right. It's like, you just threw it right out there. Right. And that, to me, didn't reinforce anything. Like, that character did not need to be revealed at all. Like
even the Terminator spoke at points. Like,
yes.
If they would have just distorted the voice, you couldn't tell if it was a girl voice or a boy voice, and it was just sort of, you need to come with me. Like, you heard like something.
Tasha!
Like, maybe that would have like really kind of helped bring you along with that, but
flesh out the character more.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's funny about the whole daughter thing is like, I don't know if that was supposed to be a big reveal or whatnot, but even though when they revealed it, I didn't feel that impact. Mm-hmm. And I probably didn't feel the impact. It was like, okay, well.
Did you suspect it?
No, I didn't suspect it at all. And so even though when they revealed it, I still wasn't like, oh my God, love. I didn't do any of that. I don't know. It's just like, okay, well, there's that storyline that they're going with or something. And to be honest, it's like I was watching Once Upon a Time on Disney Plus. They just released that on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And my kids are all into it, and they're in the scene in which Frankenstein is rebuilding this dude's son, who's a princess, trying to be in good favors with her dad by bringing their dead son back to life, or his dead brother back to life.
It's the Oprah remake, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I've seen this storyline before. It's like, oh, of course, yeah. He's going to try to keep his daughter alive by turning him into this robot. So it wasn't as big of an impact as I don't know if they were guaranteeing that it should be. It's like when it happened and they revealed it, it was like, oh, okay, they're going with that. Okay,
Yeah. And
So the Black Widow didn't kill either one of them.
Yes,
basically. Like you sucked at your job. You didn't kill either one of these people.
You had one job. You an assassin. You got one job.
You had one job.
Yeah. And the other thing was like that. The reveal was one thing, but that's the big bad. And then they should have came with, because it's about the whole network of widows, right? That's when the Jason Bourne aspect, Manchurian Candidate stuff kind of comes in. And I was just fine if they'd have had Taskmaster be like the very last person without all of the stuff before the big tower falls into the sky and stuff, which visually was awesome. Visually, I was like, all right, now I feel like I'm in a comic book movie. But other than that, it was how do you say? It was tough to put those bad guys over to a point where you're like, I don't think Natasha's gonna make this. Like if you watch, let's say, Mission Impossible, sometimes it looks like Tom Cruise gonna die. It just does. You know he's the star of the show, but they do these shots where he like flies out of the plane like he dead, and then they show him holding on to something. I never got that sense of danger from in any part. Like,
I would disagree.
When for her?
Yes. Like,
okay,
you remember when they shot the car with the arrow?
Yes, and it blew in.
She's dead. It's like no one's gonna survive that. They shot an arrow under a car. It exploded.
That's when your wife came in and saw it and was like, "No,
this is stupid." And she walked right out. She like, because I said the exact same thing. Like she's sitting there watching, and she's like, "Oh yeah, watching Black Widow." And she came in, watched that scene. Dude shot an arrow under the car. It blew up. It flew in the air. It flipped over onto its head.
Landed upside down. Yeah.
Landed up. It went downstairs. Ended up in a subway. And they walk out, and the woman's like, "I cut my arm." And there was no door. The whole car gets engulfed in flames.
That's fair.
No one's burnt. No one's missing hair. Nothing.
They hop out like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, I got a cut.
I got a good suit. My vest is flame proof.
It seems that it always upside down, huh?
Yeah.
It always upside down.
How does this happen?
And this whole notion of, okay, so here's another movie where the bad guys are experimenting on and mistreating people with special abilities to turn them into these ultimate weapons. Like, how many times have we seen that before? I mean, X-Men, the Maximoffs in Ultron, Deadpool. You've seen this happen so many times in superhero
Weapon X,
movies.
everything, yeah.
There you go. I mean, you see it happen so many times over and over and over again where they experiment on people. They become ultimate. I mean, I just feel this is a lazy script. Like, even at the very beginning when I'm watching them hurt up all these girls and doing all this stuff, and it's like they're playing Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That was creepy.
On this weird, this weird cover version of Teen Spirit. And it's like they want you to feel like this is a somber moment. But the lyrics are like, my libido, a mosquito.
Entertainers.
This is just nonsensical at this point.
That's a human trafficking song, apparently. It is. They put them all in the thing.
I just kind of went with it because I feel like that's just part of this whole universe's DNA is this ultimate soldier gonna, undefeated, undefeatable, then they can come back from it and they took away my past and this. So not that it needs to be done over and over again, but I just kind of feel like it's just part of the DNA of this whole comic franchise is that storyline. So I was just like, okay, I guess it's just part of that.
I mean, I give you this and that. Marvel in general was always known for making characters that the average person should be able to connect with, and in such, it makes the character have these dark origins. I will give you that. It's not like Superman's born from the sun. Batman had his parents die. And he's like, I'm going to hold myself and be better. Some of these cats were like, I'm going to the moon. And they come back with powers. And then they say, well, we're a family dynamic. That's how you relate. Some of that stuff is kind of strange. But you got to remember, too, this is not being taken in the film. And so they are able to just kind of retcon, change, alter things as they see fit. And it's really something where it took me a while to kind of just let go of the, how would you say, purest form of that, and just say, okay, this is just a movie. This is just what they're giving me to watch. And I think I give it credit on the merit of they built the character up decently. But I think the thing is, too, is the time frame and all that was kind of jarring too. Like if I had never seen Civil War, or if like I didn't know what happened, of course, to her, I think this movie could have worked or had a lot more impact to it if it didn't put itself in that weird kind of confine. You know what I'm saying?
Is this where you're leading to, if whether or not it is, if we're grading on a curve?
Yeah, because I put it with that, and then the pandemic with it being a year behind. But
well, I think that no. See, this is where I would say, like, you're like, do you grade the film on the curve because of the pandemic? No, because that meant that they had even more time to get it right.
Okay.
I mean, this was supposed to come out, what, November? Is that right? Last year?
It was, last year, right?
Yeah, November last year, yeah. It's supposed to be.
Let's be
winter
honest,
movie,
this movie should have came out before she threw herself off of a cliff.
Can't argue with that.
Fighting to die.
Yeah.
For no real cause. Well, obviously it meant something.
To save the universe.
Right, but
hug yourself.
Apparently, if the Timekeepers willed it, she can just come back. Oh, I don't know, like Gamora or any of the other villains that died and somehow figured out a way to come back. I mean,
if she's a variant. I'll
take a variant Black Widow, but I tell you what, I mean, and this is kind of where I was going with before. I felt like they did a good job setting up. What was her name? Yelena,
the sister,
as the new Black Widow. I mean, she had more personality than her sister. She was witty. She was sarcastic.
She was dark.
She was vulnerable.
Oh God, I loved how she picked on him. Was like, oh, you're such a poser.
No, yeah, that was funny.
And then she did it herself, and she's like, disgusting.
No,
all the memorable lines in that movie kind of come from her. With the whole, you're a poser. The whole idea.
Why
that
do you do that?
You land, you pose.
Yeah, they take out the uterus and the fallopian tube. I was going to talk about that.
The whole thing, like you're the killer that all the other little girls call hero. That was just like a well done, well placed line. I mean, she really seemed like she was the one suffering through the moment, whereas Natasha was just kind of.
I've had my time.
She was the name to give the movie some relevance.
Exactly.
Even though it was Yelena's movie to have.
It was like a passing of the torch where they never really passed the torch.
And let's talk about that real quick, because if you watch the end credits scene, the last scene that they have at the end of the credits, they tease the whole, Val makes an appearance. Now, I don't know if this end credits scene was there prior to when they released it or when it was supposed to be there back in November. Because if it was back in November, then that was the first time we would have seen her prior to Falcon Winter Soldier.
I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus in that role. When she introduces herself by blowing her nose,
it was great. No, it was so appropriate. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. We were watching the movie and I was like, no, that's going to be Nick Fury. Like I was, and
I remember you saying that. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes no.
It wasn't. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, at the end credits scene, basically what it is, and I'm spoiling it. Look, basically what happens is that Val shows up. Don't call her Val. And she shows Yelena who, quote unquote, killed her sister. And you see the picture, and who is it?
Hawkeye. Yeah. Well, you saw, this is the man responsible for your sister's death. There again, I thought that was BS.
Yeah.
I hated that ending just from the standpoint that it was a poorly written ending because, I mean, who wouldn't know? Like, what, Hawkeye just never told anybody what happened up there? That she sacrificed herself? No one killed her. She sacrificed herself.
They probably don't even believe his story. Like, can you imagine telling this story? Like, so me and Black Widow was on this rope, right? On this whole other planet. And then we had to... I was going to kill myself. Yeah. She fight me.
And I elbowed in the eye and I'm like, no, I'm jumping off the cliff. She lassoed me like, no, I'm jumping off the cliff. I was like,
girl, let me jump.
No, you got a family. I'm jumping.
Yeah.
But that's my thing. It's like, okay.
That was the weakest moment in the entire... goddamn Avengers Endgame movie. That was the weakest moment, and the fact that they're trying to make this sound tragic in some kind of a sense, no.
But that's my point. It's like, was this end credit scene originally there, or was it something different? And if it was something that they added in after, given the fact that they were going to release this later, were they just using that as a vehicle to promote the next Hawkeye movie?
They could be.
Not movie, but the TV show.
The show. I mean,
possibly, but I mean, it just seems like such a lame tease because, again, it really makes no sense that Yelena could be. I mean, here's somebody who has the sense of how bad people can be, and now she's throwing her lot with Hydra?
Well, tell me, in the comic books, is she bad at some point?
No, but Val is Hydra, right?
I don't know.
It looks like it, or just like somebody that collects these next generation heroes to the highest bidder,
It's
which
like
is
a player.
That's like a Thunderbolts. Like there's a series of characters called the Thunderbolts that U.S. agent is in it, and they might.
Well, you saw her recruit U.S. agent at the end of the last movie.
Yeah,
the last series.
So I mean, it's possible. I don't follow Disney Plus storylines. I don't know any executives, but it is possible they could be doing that in reverse. Like picking up Avengers. These are Thunderbolts or whatever, and then they're hunting people. Maybe that's the next build past this phase. I hope at least.
Well, I don't know what this is, but the producers put in the chat if this was the Dark Avengers storyline leading to it. Do you know anything about that?
The Dark Avengers storyline is when they had like these different villains and they dressed them up like Avengers. Like Hawkeye, he didn't look like, he wasn't Clint Barton. He was just like, he was a different guy that was good at, doing arrows and stuff. So they were all villains dressed like heroes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was such a storyline.
Organized by Norman Osborn.
Really?
Yes.
Of Oscorp?
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Boom. Spider-Man tie-in. There you go.
Now.
There you go. Gotcha.
Oscorp.
Man.
Oscorp.
Big time. So that's a possibility, but we don't know because, that's something down the line. But again, that's what I was saying earlier. I think this movie has this weird way. It's almost like they put this in to just say, here's this other stuff that we can now add because we've introduced you to it. You know what I mean? Like, you could make the argument that said, like, now there's like, now they're introducing, like you said, her dad, and like they're introducing the mom. So, Crimson Dynamo. So now they're introducing all these various Russian type characters that are like Avenger counterparts in a way. And and look at, if, like you said, the dad got over, y'all say he stole the show, then, hey, cool. Maybe that's something they say, hey, we can add another split to the franchise.
So you don't think the dad stole the movie? Like, because I was watching the movie with you, didn't start laughing until the dad showed up.
Family dynamic, well, because I'm a dad, I know what it's like to get abused up. But I also said he ain't got to do anything to, like, he had the good dynamics with the family. I give you that. But he got his butt kicked all the time.
They played him as a goof. No question about it. It was like at the very end, he has that last line, which like you got nothing to say. He's like, I just screwed up. It's like, I'm just a useless guy who's
I'll do that. That's just your dad. Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like that fight between him and Taskmaster. I'm like, yeah, let's see what this is going to be. This is going to be awesome.
Right.
He got his butt thrown around a bit, and that was about it.
And the thing is that character, Red Guardian, he knows how to use a shield. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he did throw it once.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that. Yeah,
I guess, and that's the thing. Like, I thought the hype.
Well, he mocked Captain America's shield while he was in jail, which is another thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who filmed this movie, but I've never gotten a tattoo. My wife has tattoos. I can tell you this much: when you're sitting there, if you're arm wrestling as you're getting a back tattoo, your muscles move.
Okay,
that back tattoo would have looked like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Wow.
By the time that they were done, that was crazy.
Not a Rorschach painting?
Wherever you want to call it. It would have looked messed up, and that dude would have got his butt whipped, or at least his wrist snapped by the Red Guardian, because his tattoo. Who gives a tattoo while you're in the middle of using your muscles to get right?
Not Sylvester Stallone, obviously.
No. Sylvester would go for the thumb.
That's right.
Because you got to do. If you turn the hat backwards,
you got to turn it. Yes,
you got to catch the thumb
and over the top. Yes, that's it.
Push over the top. Yeah,
I like a machine to take the cap and pull it.
Can I tell you? It's like when he was putting on his old costume and trying to squeeze into it. I felt that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get that.
I don't know why. I felt that. I was like, man, I know I got some tight clothes.
I was tripping out.
Right.
I kept telling Eli, I was like, wait a minute. They were together for 3 years. This woman just keeps his raggedy ass suit.
That's love.
Well, apparently they had some kind of relation because he's like, oh, I've been in prison. I have lots of energy.
Best line of the movie. The funniest line of the movie. I have lots of energy.
Yeah, and the girls are like, oh, please stop.
But that was funny.
Why would she have his... his outfit, because he complained, like, when I was on this stupid little 3-year mission, I couldn't be the Red Guardian. I wanted to be the Red Guardian. But somehow she got his suit off of that stupid little 3-year mission.
Hey, don't mess with somebody that can.
Doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Maybe she offered them a lot of bacon for the suit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Lots of
She's
pigs.
killing the pigs with cutting their breath off.
I don't know if the interaction between Loki and Mobius, the dialogue that they had.
Okay, all
but
right.
I did enjoy the conversation that they had around that dinner table. With the little family dynamic kind of thing. I don't know why. I just enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Even though it ended for worse, but I don't know if that's a result of Loki kind of conditioning me to that kind of stuff, because I enjoy Mobius's and Loki's kind of conversation.
I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoy Mobius and Loki's
no, that's true. That there are better. I agree with that.
Way better, but I kind of felt like, again, their conversation was meant to make the dad sound like a goof, to make Natasha sound cold, to make Melina sound like a coward, which is what she calls her, and to make Yelena, who is, I guess, at the end of the day, the new Black Widow, to put her over, because she's the only one at the table that was like, no, that was real to me.
She was
like,
betrayed.
Yes, Natasha's still feeling the loss of her imaginary family, the Avengers. Like, Yelena's like, what happened when we were all together, that was something real. That meant something to me. Natasha still wants to get back to the Avengers. Melina, the mom, is worried about her research. And Red Guardian is worried about getting back to his glory days as the Red Guardian.
Yeah.
Yelena is the only one in that scene to me that kind of gets over with true purpose and true intent, which
Glorious
is
purpose?
I don't know about glorious. She wasn't looking for glory necessarily, but I mean, I kind of felt her plight more than I felt anybody else's.
Well, and to kind of piggyback what you say as far as putting her over. Yeah, I mean, look, she's the one that gets the antidote. She's the one that she's cold. But now that she's fixed, now she's just like, all right, good. You know, she actually drives the story forward. That's how I totally see her getting put over. I mean,
Yelena?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
She drives it. I mean, look, you have parts where, like, and I remember Danny and I were watching it, and I was like, man, this movie's like lagging, because the part where they all together, they escape on the plane. And
you complained at one part, and you and I kind of got into it because like,
I know.
You were like, there's not enough action. And I was like, what do you mean there's not enough action? I was like, they keep shoehorning action at the expense of plot. Like,
there was a lot of action, yeah.
But we talk like the first 15, 20 minutes, right? Because that's where we had that.
What, the escape from Ohio?
But you remember, you and I were all like, this is nonsense. They just made it like these sisters just fought for like a couple of minutes, like 5 minutes, for no reason. And finally, one of them says, truce?
That was kind of weird. It's like there was no setup to that. It's like, what happened? Like, why all bad blood?
Like, why y'all fighting? I mean, she sent the materials to you because clearly she trusted you. You came out to see her because clearly you're worried about her.
Yeah.
Why y'all fighting for 5 minutes?
They were spies. I told you, spies don't trust nobody.
You know what's funny about that?
Nobody.
This is what's funny about what you just said. Is just like every now and then I'll stumble into the living room. It's like, I'll go to my daughters and I'm like, why the hell are y'all fighting? What the hell's going on?
Okay.
What? What
are you doing?
And they're just going at it. I'm like, son of a.
And then that's when you sit there and tell them about your days as the Red Guardian. And about how you saved.
I squeezed into suit. Huh?
Yes.
And I look still very good and I have much energy, so I bang your mom.
The red drummer.
I saved the Philippines and still have enough energy.
I saved myself for your mother, even though she wasn't really your mother.
I
have much energy. I have much strength up in here.
I was hungry and she killed the pig without even having to cut it. She just cut his brain off and then stop it from breathing and then pull breakfast.
As an aside, did Steve Rogers say anything about me? You know, we contemporaries, we get along.
I thought he was
he's a good friend. I think we the same thing. We throw shields and stuff.
The comrade thought he was in ice.
And Moose and Squirrel, I sent them over there to make amends. You know, it's like a little olive branch.
He wrecked the ship. He wrecked the ship for he know come out.
He know come out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it.
I thought David Harbour did a phenomenal job. He wasn't given much to work with. But what he had to work with, like in the very first 10 minutes of the film, he comes up as he's competent, he's feeling, he's on the wing of a plane, he's shooting, he's trying to help his family out, and he seems like a completely different version of this character that you meet like an hour later, and you're like, wait a minute, is that the same guy that I just saw on the wing of a plane? Like, he seemed so competent, so smart.
Exactly.
So,
It's like, is that what prison did to you? Is like, did that really take that much out of you?
I mean, I can see that though. If you got people wanting to arm wrestle you all the time, and then like you just try to tell your story, and then everybody just like, hey, that's bull crap. I mean, you'd be a little angry too. He had a little goal he grew in there. I'm like, all right, how gangster did it get? Did he have a rap song too in Russian that came out?
Can I say something like,
time?
My name is Peaches, and I'm the best. All the Melinas love to feel my chest.
I think you and I think Kevin and Eli need to lower their grade a little bit because y'all went like you were at an 8.
I was at an 8. Yes.
E, you were at what, a 9?
No, I said 8.
You said 8?
I said 8.
All right. Lee and I were at 7s. I think y'all need to come down to 7 with us.
I don't know, because like
come on down to 7. It's better down here.
No, because y'all, like I said, it's easier to explain. Yeah, but
I mean, well, give me an idea. Okay,
right.
I have not heard y'all do anything but bury this movie.
No, okay. We agreed about the dynamic. Like the family dynamic
I like the family
of it.
dynamic. I did.
I did agree with Kevin as far as like them having the table conversation, and that part was like funny. I agree with you that the side characters just put themselves over. I mean, that's just how that was. I like action sequences. So, right? So, like, the parts where it had a weird lag, you're like, hey, but you had these different sequences. The thing was that one was when they were all young, right? And then they go ahead and they fast forward into now. Then Black Widow's dodging Thunderbolt Raws, but it's not like she fights the army or anything. She just like says, oh, I tricked you. I got my outfit in the bathroom here, but I'm coming out over here. So like that part was like, all right, chill, you're smart. So there was just a little lag there. But once like she got shot in the Jeep and fought Taskmaster and all that action was on point.
That was so phony.
That was cool. I mean, once you did...
Wait, which part was it? The Jeep?
You know,
the arrow that blew up under the Jeep.
No, not that one. No.
Subway?
No, not that one. Not that one. She was about to go... Remember, the generator went out, and then she was going to go on this drive.
And on the bridge.
Yeah, on the bridge. Right before...
When you first meet Taskmaster.
Right. And the funny thing is I was like, yeah, man. I'm like, this movie's lagging now, because I didn't care about talking to the Mason guy. And,
yeah, he was complaining like 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, then she... But he...
Well, can we stop? Like, what the heck was with Mason? Where the hell did he come from? That was one of my complaints.
I mean, he's like a small...
He was like a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. Whatever you need.
Because it's like he came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, so they know each other. I've never seen him in any other movie. I was like,
It's supposed to be like somebody tied at a shield.
I got a question for you. Like, is that where they got the Quinjet?
That she flew and picked them all up in...
at the end of the movie, he delivers her a Quinjet.
Right, yeah.
And you're like... That it's unmistakable, but they also make reference in the movie about the Avengers having, like, I think it was Yelena was like, why don't you get the Avengers to come with their, souped up jet or something like that? And I don't know what she's referring to, but I mean, that's where the Quinjet, it's some junkyard that this dude got.
The black market or something?
Exactly. It was refurb, man.
It was like, wait, that's where the Quinjet came from? Some nameless guy whose name I can't even remember?
Yeah.
That's where the Quinjet came from.
No, I'm not saying that's where. I'm just... Mason made something happen. You didn't know how.
Let's just be honest. There are parts of this movie that they are flat out dull. There are parts of this movie where you're bored. There are action scenes that just seem to be shoehorned in for no reason other than action. The action for the sake of action.
Some, not all, right?
Well, when the girl when
Budapest, I give you.
Okay. Wait, this is my whole thing. They destroyed this whole big ass thing because she shot one bullet in the air. The whole friggin' planet, ship, whatever, because she shot a bullet up in the air, which, that chipped, I guess, a blade that just set off this whole, like, that's how indestructible this thing is, that one tiny bullet shot up at a fan, did this whole thing in, which no one knew about because it was in the sky.
Well, it was like Luke Skywalker hitting the...
Yeah, that one spot.
Yeah.
But without knowing that was the target. Somebody, she's like, I took out one engine, but that was the magic spot, and I happened to set off a chain reaction. That's the whole thing.
And they were like, that's why we couldn't find him, because he was in the sky. Like, but because no one ever flies in clouds or anything like that. Like, what is this bullshit? Like, I don't know about comics, but I know that is stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid. Like I said, you got stuff that's flat out dull. You got action sequences that are shoehorned in for no reason. You've got the whole thing that we talked about with the cars. Oh, the chimney that she just pulls the pin out of.
Oh, that one was so convenient.
It was like, wait. It's that easy? What kind of structural engineer built that? Where you just, hey, I'm going to yank out a pin easily, and we're all just going to glide down on a chimney.
Easily.
Oh, your chimneys don't do
woman,
that? My chimney does that.
Does it?
does it?
Yeah, that's how I go from tree to tree in my neighborhood.
Oh, well, hey.
That's funny.
That's how Tarzan does it. It's crazy.
Tarzan on, man.
There you go. There you go. That's parkour. That's all that is. Parkour.
You know what? Screw it. I'm coming down to 7.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
telling
you.
guys. Yes.
Thank you. Because the big twist with the attachment, that was fairly obvious. And the main villain, my God, they keep him off screen for more than half the movie.
Okay.
Because you're like, okay, well, the Taskmaster is clearly meant to substitute for this main villain. And then you meet the main villain, and he kind of comes across as kind of like an ornery grandpa.
He kind of gave me that Civil War vibe. Remember, there was he was just this guy that was just an ordinary guy. He just happened to be this mastermind. Like, I kind of got that vibe, but then I could go to 7.5 because of that pheromone thing. Remember that?
Oh, that was weird.
That was weird.
That was creepy.
Like, how did she know when she slammed? Like, she's trying to convince the dude here, hit me, and the dude's too weak to break her own nose. So she just slams her face on the desk. Like, how did you know that you wouldn't accidentally
Not
go
go
unconscious?
Yeah. And
Hitting your face would force it to break your own nose on a desk.
Because I am Natasha. I'm strong like bull. I can withstand pain.
Adamantium face. I'm going with that.
Adamantium face.
Yes, I'm going with that. Yeah.
You can go at adamantium face, but you have to also go down to a 7.
I gotta go to 7.5.
If you want to go to adamantium, fine.
I was having a joke.
Come down to 7 with us.
Oh, okay. Now, I was going to say earlier when we did the non-spoiler part.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, this is like the 60s Batman, like, resolution. That was the part I was talking about when he was like, okay, I have the pheromone block. You can't punch me or whatever. Like, okay, weird, but whatever. And then it's like a flashback to when they were about to get caught, and then Natasha and the mom like talk about the whole thing. I was like, oh man,
sever them down.
Yeah, you gotta do all of this stuff before and just put the mask on. I was like, okay,
the pheromones are weird, man.
That was a little like, like, hey, anti-shock repellent, boom, got it, boom. Like
my pheromones, you can feel it in your plums,
do anything
huh?
about it.
You can feel it down in my plums. You cannot hit me.
Okay, that's fair.
No.
I look. I had COVID, and I can tell you the olfactory senses were definitely cut off at one point in time.
So you could have defeated Dreykov.
I could have
You could have taken Dreykov.
Yes.
Dreykov.
Yes, because his pheromones would not have affected Danny. No.
That part was weird.
It was convenient.
What was that stupid vest?
Oh, that she had?
Kept trying to buy. Oh, this is the best vest. Oh, you like the vest? Yes.
I have so many pockets.
Very handy
You never
pockets
know.
and all the great thing about the vest.
Okay, you know what? I love the action and everything, but
you're
I
down to a 6 now, aren't you?
I'm going
6.
But the vest is good, huh? You like the vest. The vest is how you say nice.
It is nice. It is very nice.
It's very pockets, huh?
Quite nice. Look at all of this.
So you never know.
Boom. I have a cool weapon.
It's a beautiful vest.
Yes.
It is like a fanny pack, is it not? No.
If they had them, you know what it is? They made the movie to where they kind of, I guess, like you said, shoehorn it in timeline, like Star Wars, where they go ahead and they do like the
Star Wars stories,
like the pre-movies and stuff like that. And they shoehorn it in. I think that doesn't do this movie the justice. I think if we don't have that weird time constraint, I think you have a better chance to give this movie room to breathe. That makes sense?
Yes, it absolutely makes sense. They screwed it up by letting too much time pass before they made a movie. And then when they made a movie, they made it a very generic movie. And again, it's not to say it's not enjoyable. It is enjoyable at parts, but it's not, there's no mythos to get lost in. There's nothing, I don't feel like I'm seeing anything original here. I feel like I'm seeing the introduction of the next Black Widow.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
And to their credit, they get Yelena over huge.
Maybe that was the purpose. Yeah, maybe that was the purpose.
I agree with that. Yeah,
but they handle the transition like the end of the movie. Instead of having that scene at the gravestone where, let's be honest, Natasha died on a foreign planet. I doubt that her body's even in I doubt she was even buried there, but let's say she was. Whatever.
Well, Red Skull shipped it back because that's what
There
his
you
job
go.
is. You know, when people die, he has to bring them back to the home planet.
Sure.
He's nice like that.
He has he's got the Red
FedEx.
Skull.
I got a pickup.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh yeah, he's got the Red Skull funeral
Can I
home.
get it overnighted?
Yeah, he's got a hearse,
Freaking DoorDash.
a spaceship hearse.
They had Amazon Prime, so
Yeah,
the
you-
body probably got there in 2 days.
I get it to you in 2 days. 2 days, flat minimum. I'll get you the body there. So just bring them all
Right.
over.
There you go.
No
Come
taxes.
to whatever the hell that place was named.
No
I forget,
taxes.
yeah.
Shields got this one.
Yeah, Shield. Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
complete sense.
It's very nice. Anything else with this? I feel like we've exhausted everything. We squeezed everything from that little pig udder that we could.
I think we said it all. Well, that pig thing. Jeez, I turned to Eli at one point in time, like, is the pig breathing again? Like, yeah,
Not yet.
that was taking me out of the
Breathe.
whatever. We need to let Joshua go swim. So I want to
Yes.
say I'm standing firm with my 7. It's enjoyable. I'm glad I got it. I might watch it one more time, but I don't know that there's anything where it's like, man, that really is something. Let me put it like this. I have a 11-year-old daughter, and she won't watch anything she'll watch anything on YouTube. She won't watch anything that I want to watch. Like, I tried to show her Wonder Woman 1984, was it?
Yes, 19.
And
latest one, yeah.
she watched it. I don't know that I could legit show her this and have her be riveted. Is that fair?
You don't feel
that's fair.
you think she'll get into the girl power stuff too much? Huh?
Well, I mean, we all have young girls.
Yeah.
No, I think Lily is totally into girl power. I don't sense as much girl power as, the girl power is there, but it just kind of plays itself on a more subversive level, if you will. I mean, it's playing under the surface the entire time. As a kid, I don't know that you're necessarily entertained.
No, I would agree with that. Yeah, because my daughters are the same way. It's like halfway through the movie, the 2 younger ones left. They started playing on their own.
Yeah.
The oldest one watched the entire thing the entire way through, but I don't see her repeating this movie, much like she watches, let's say, Bluey or Once Upon a Time, the TV show, or even the Mysterious Benedict Society. She enjoys that.
Oh my God, Lily and I watched the very first episode of that the other day, and we were like, "Oh wow, that's pretty decent."
Yeah, it was crazy.
And
yeah.
I can't
was
wait
like,
to
what?
watch the next 2.
I know, I am the same way. I was like, oh, they end with these damn cliffhangers too.
I've got the book. Like,
Really? You do?
Lily and I read the first half of the book, but we got sidetracked with other things. Like school.
Yeah, we discovered it as a book, and now I feel like she wants to do that. But I think she'd rather do that than maybe watch this movie again. I don't see her watching this movie again, unless we're watching it. And it's funny because I'll watch this movie, but it makes me want to watch the other Marvel movies that are out there.
I agree,
After I finished that, I was like, oh, I want to see Endgame. I want to see Infinity War. If anything, I wanted a place where the blonde hair came into play. Yeah, I wanted to see how they tied all this stuff together to figure out where it fits.
You definitely got that in this film.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, man.
All right, so my biggest takeaway with this is there was nothing in this movie that made me want to say, oh, I want to see it again because that part was so cool or this part was so great. And there also wasn't anything that I felt like I missed when I saw it. Because a lot of times you're like, oh man, I want to go back and see did I miss this part? Was there a meaning behind that? You miss those little details or you hear about some little details. There's none of that. So it was a cool movie. It was good to watch. If you like Marvel movies, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It was good getting back to the theater, but I've seen it and I'm good.
I mean, really quick, there's the guy whose arm gets broken. That's Ursa. That's a reference to another one of Red Guardian's compatriots in the
Oh, really?
books. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, go ahead.
That's-
He was kind of taunting him a bit. Okay, that's a good thing to
As
know.
Ursa Minor. It's a dude that he gets his powers, he turns into a big bear.
Well, why don't you say something else that I also didn't know real quick, because I think it bears mentioning, which is that Crimson Dynamo, where she's like, Yelena tells her dad, you're just so worried about reliving your days as the Crimson Dynamo. And he's like, Red Guardian. And like kind of corrects her at the end, but Eli said Crimson Dynamo is really the Iron Man of Russia.
Yes, that's
Which I thought was Whiplash, but I was wrong.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's see that they do all crazy, they do all kind of crazy stuff because Whiplash I think is like the sort of the guy that would be Crimson Dynamo, but yeah, Crimson Dynamo is an actual Marvel character.
Okay.
And he's a big bulky suit of armor. for lack of a better word. So yeah, just so you know, Lee, they had like some little tidbits, but they weren't over the top because these characters are not known as well. So yeah, that much I give.
For Ragnarok, I really couldn't wait to see that again. Yeah. Seen it a couple times since. Yeah. Deadpool, I would watch anytime it came on. I would watch Deadpool. It's just there's so much cool stuff to see and do. So
I would say this, and then I'll walk. I think you got a great point in that those two movies came with an extra character. You had the Hulk in one, Colossus another. Maybe this would have needed that besides the family dynamic, but we'll see.
So let us know what you thought about this latest addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let us know. Show at magicourway.com. And make sure you keep listening. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed that review. If you want to learn more about us, the Magic Our Way podcast, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. Also, if you want to share your opinion with us, you can get in touch with us through the following ways. You can shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com, or you can call or send us a text message. Yes, I did say text message at 1-815-MOWEEKEND. That is 1-815
MOWEEKEND
669-4226. Of course, we have a couple guys who do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli, does things with comics.
Hey, Rob Liefeld here. Deadpool, Cable, X-Force, Domino, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, all of it. You guys, what is up? Eli Ivory, what a great name. Eli Ivory, comic guru. I'm here to talk about you. I am here to say, check out ivorycomics.com. That's right, you. Check out ivorycomics.com, ivorycomics.com. If you're not doing that, you're missing out. You're missing out. The Savages comic cannot be beat, cannot be surpassed. You need to check it out, experience it for yourself, and you know the story. It's all about the glory. Congrats to you and all the magic that you're making with your Ivory Comics, Eli Ivory, comic book guru. Check out ivorycomics.com, comic book guru, Eli Ivory, the whole package. Deadpool said to. Do it. ivorycomics.com right now. Liefeld out.
True that, Rob. True that. That's what I tell them girls all the time when they say, I can't take your phone. I'm like, you miss it out, girl. You miss it out.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Liefeld out.
Liefeld never out. Never out. Yes, of course, like you heard, you go ahead, you can check out the website, get all that good content. Of course, there's a link to this awesome podcast so you never miss an episode, a joke, a piece of insight, just the fun in general, okay? Now, you can also find me on Facebook, Eli H. Ivory, right there, as long as you're a real person. Hey, how you doing? But if you're a bot, get out. Not. I don't want no bots.
He don't want no bots.
No, don't. And it's so bad for me. Mess up all your stuff.
In the beans.
Call your phone. And then that's the bill collector.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Out the wazoo.
No, we don't need that.
Little love is here.
There it is. Missing now.
Turkey leg.
Turkey leg. Oh my God. This is great. That's why there's synergy. That's why there's a link, because you never miss an episode. Check it out. And then you can see Project Geisha, Facebook page right there. So facebook.com/Project Geisha, all that good stuff. Instagram, getting the love right there, EIV504. And of course on Twitter, you can find me Hancock 10166. So you appreciate the madness, just bringing me the gladness. Eli out.
That's
Eli
right. There's synergy because Bob Iger said to.
Yeah. Do it. Iger out.
And look, guys, if you want to book a vacation anywhere in the United States so you can go to a theater and watch Black Widow, you can do so through Lee. Lee, tell them how to do this.
Just give me a call at 832-431-1621. That's 832-POSER, 832-POSER. Email me at lee@magicourway.com. Facebook, that's facebook.com/Lastovica Travel. That's LASTOVICA Travel. Instagram, you got a friend in Lee Travel. And TikTok, you got a friend in Lee. And if you do any of that, we'll get you hooked up and booked up with no.
Bearded Guardian of Vika.
Hey, Lastovica, why do you do that phone number thing? Huh? It's I don't get it.
He's just this guy.
It's so strange.
He's got a beard.
He's disgusting.
He's got the beard.
I don't know what the phone number is.
It's cool.
Terrible. I don't get it. Yes. And look, guys, there's so many ways to support the show as a whole, and you can find them all on our website, magicourway.com. And any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated, especially at these times. We also want to take a second. Thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from Eli as well as our listeners. All opinions are always welcome in the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. Us being me, Eli, Danny, and Lee.
Yes.
So Mohicans,
Only us.
Only us. And you.
Yes.
Us weekends. It's like Harmonious, but different. So Mohican us. We say Kwahirini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
I have every intention of eating those bananas for breakfast, but I still somehow end up with tacos.
White Russians.
In addition to my 12 pairs of shoes, I also pack Mad Hatter Radio
Yes.
in my suitcase.
Those are your emergency Mad Hatter Radio shoes.